Happy New Year! In a few hours, depending on when you're watching this video. We decided to kind of bring Mirror World news down low today next to the fireplace because we're going to be talking about a very serious topic. I do not know a single writer that has not struggled with this topic over the years, and so Justine, Dowsett, is going to help us try to overcome it. Today we're dealing with writer's block. So
if you haven't experienced writer's block yet,
yay.
You probably will one day.
Eventually you
yeah.
will. It's almost inevitable. Every single writer has some moments of it, whether they're few and far between or whether they're like major stopping points. It stopped whole books.
Yeah, it's really a spectrum though too.
Yeah.
It can be as simple as looking at a blank page and just going, oh my god, and
I do that all the time.
Not getting anywhere, not knowing how to start.
Right. So what is it? What is writer's block? Can we define it?
Yeah, so a lot of people define writer's block in different ways. The way I think about it maybe is a bit unique, but I'm going to go through my experience. As I said, it can be as simple as that blank page and just not knowing what to do, what to write, where to start. It could be that you're in the middle of a project and you just suddenly lose the motivation to continue, and you can't go any further with it, or every time you write a sentence or a paragraph, it just kind of fades off and you don't get that motivation going. Or it could be that you're creatively blocked entirely and just can't do anything.
Yeah. Some people get writer's block on one project, some people get writer's block on all projects.
Right, so sometimes you could just switch to another project or write a different part of your book or work on something else and that could work, but sometimes you can't do anything.
And you're stuck, and you're just staring at your computer screen or your empty piece of paper and you're just like...
And it is the worst feeling in the world.
It's terrible, especially when that's what you love, you're passionate, you want to write.
Yes.
But you can't. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So maybe in looking at writer's block, let's go over some of the things that cause writer's block. Because there's tons of things that can cause it. We're just going to cover some. Everyone's different. But let's go over a couple.
So some reasons you could be feeling this way is maybe you're just having a bad day. That does happen.
It happens?
Yeah, it happens. You're just having an off day and, it's just not coming to you today. You just don't feel like writing today. That's okay. You could be feeling overall kind of inadequate as a writer or creatively. Maybe someone made you feel bad about your writing.
Especially if you gave someone like your first draft to read. And
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe a loss of motivation for that project that you're working on. It's just not resonating with you anymore.
Maybe you really love steampunk and you were right in the steampunk mode. There was like 3 steampunk movies and now it's 12 months later, nothing steampunk's happening, and you're like, it was fun at the time.
Maybe you have written yourself into a corner. So you're going along with your project and you have that motivation, but then all of a sudden you kind of wrote yourself into a place where the characters maybe don't know where they're going from there or have a stumbling block that they can't overcome.
Yeah. And some people have said that happens more to pantsers than plotters, generally speaking.
Generally speaking. But you can get into a plot corner
even
while plotting.
Or you'll think about something later on in your plot and you're like, wait, no, that completely... Oh, why didn't they just Expelliarmus that thing into their hand and they're, you know what I mean? Or something little happened.
Yeah,
like,
or for me,
great.
if I've plotted myself, if I've tried to do plotting and I've plotted myself to death, then I don't have that motivation anymore. So that could be another source of it.
Because you lose the surprise.
Yeah, I lose the surprise. I lose the, wanting to turn the page and see what's next.
The next one's a big one for a lot of people, me included.
Yeah, bigger issues like imposter syndrome. Just feeling like you're not enough or like your work's not good enough, over analyzing your negative thoughts, critiquing yourself, or even more seriously than that, you could be suffering from a form of depression.
Yeah, and that happens medically, psychologically.
Yeah, it could be for actual reasons that are going on in your life, or it honestly just could be for no reason. You just feel bad and you're just not creating.
Yeah, you can just be like, just not wanting to, but... There is a glimmer of hope, everybody.
Let's turn this around.
A glimmer of hope. Let's move out of this zone into something positive. So, what are some ways a writer can deal with having any form or some forms of writer's block? How do they do it?
So I think your first step is to discover what's causing this. How big of an issue is it? If it's an off day, you just wait till tomorrow. If it's a story issue, maybe you back up and you rewrite a section of it until it works and you go forward again. If it's losing your motivation, maybe you find something that you're more motivated with or more interested in, or find a way to care about what you're writing again. If it's an emotional issue, try to find out what the root of the problem is, what's actually wrong. Because sometimes you're depressed and you just don't know why, and sitting and meditating or thinking about it or trying to work through it will really get you there.
Never underestimate real world problems affecting your writing. It happens all the time.
Do.
All the time.
So your options at that point is you can either take a break, or you can try to write through it. Some people find that writing exercises work, or working on a different project works. Sometimes you just write it and you slog through it even though you feel like your writing sucks at that point. And
that's one that I do. Tip for me is to just, you know what? I just have to get words on the paper. I don't even care if they're terrible. Just as long as there's something on the paper, that means I'm physically writing. My body will work through that kink.
Yeah, and then you know what? You might think it sucks, and maybe it doesn't. And later on you look at it, it's okay. Or
maybe it does.
Maybe it does suck, but you can always rewrite it. So at least you're getting somewhere.
Yep. At least you're taking a step forward. You're not just.
But if you can't do even that, don't feel bad about it.
No.
The best thing to do is to treat yourself with kindness. Treat yourself as if it is like a mental health day, where you need to sit by the fireplace, have a cup of cocoa or whatever, and just treat yourself. Treat yourself with kindness. Is really the number one thing.
Yeah, a lot of people kind of scoff at the idea of yourself or self-help or taking a day just for you. Do it.
As a writer, as a creative person, it's crucial. It is.
It's any form of creation, theater, screenwriting, screenplays, novel writing, even making these videos, anything that you do, YouTube, if you're a YouTube star, you got to take a day, at least a day for yourself, once in a while. I mean, that does not mean don't work hard and don't work like a dog, people. You got to. But you got to take a day for yourself.
You got to recoup, refresh yourself.
Absolutely. And I know I have personally struggled with writer's block in the past for many times. You've struggled with it, I'm assuming. What are some times that it's helped with you?
So I had a major bout of it in university. I went through, I think it was about 2.5 years, I could not write a single creative thing. And it really took until I took a creative writing course. It was actually called the Creative Process. It took for me to take this course and understand what writer's block was, how it affected you, how it works, and to actually work through my problems in my real life to realize what was really wrong with my writing. And it just, as I said, all those things, the depression, everything we talked about, I was dealing with all of it. So I know firsthand what it is to go through it for sure.
And writer's block for me, a lot of stuff for me was the feeling of inadequacy, that I wasn't good enough. No matter how much I tried, it just wasn't good anyway. And nobody seemed to like it and everything, so I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to write what I want, and I'm just going to do it, and the fans are out there. You just have to find them. And I've just been working on it from that and not been as serious with myself. So that's always a good thing, too.
And maybe there's something to be said for finding who your audience is, who you're writing for.
Yeah.
Find them first, maybe.
Sometimes that works, yeah. And sometimes laziness gets in the way, and you just don't do it, and you're like, oh, I really should do it. And just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, my first novel, I would say I wrote it for myself.
Yes.
Yeah. So it wasn't until later till I found my audience and wanting to write for them.
And sometimes, even just writing for yourself, sometimes that unkinks and just gets rid of the writer's block. Like I said, just anything on the page sometimes can really, really help. So, I know you said, how did you overcome it? I pretty much said how I overcame it.
There's more. I have more on that topic. So the exercise specifically that helped me to overcome writer's block, and that's something
Don't say morning pages.
Yeah, it is.
I knew you were going to say morning pages.
I specifically wanted to share this with you because it works. And
it does.
It does work. And if this is for when you have a really serious case and you're just at a loss and nothing else seems to be working. It's an exercise that we did over, and he's taken the course, I've taken the course, we both know it. But what our professor told us to do is every single morning, you set aside 20 minutes to half an hour to just write 3 pages of just anything that comes to your head, and just it's kind of like you're just dumping all that.
It's like a mental dump on a page.
Mental dump on a page, and eventually you run out of inane things to say about the weather or how tired and groggy you are and how much you hate this exercise.
Or you run out of comics you can draw with stick figures.
Sure.
That was me.
And you force yourself to confront what is actually going on in your life, and it's because you can't not at that point. You've run run out of everything else to say. And this is how I discovered, what my real issues were and what I was avoiding. And when I did that and started to say, well, this doesn't matter, this doesn't affect my writing, and I could actually compartmentalize that and say, this is this emotional issue, that I could get writing again.
See, whereas mine was a little different. See, my morning pages didn't do that for me at all. My morning pages let me know that I'm physically capable of writing 3 pages in a 20-minute span.
There you go. Opposite solution, but the same process.
I'm physically
That's
capable
cool.
of doing that.
Yeah.
Even if it's garbage, I'm still capable of pushing through. Even with crazy writer's block, I could still put words to paper every time. It helps when you're also getting a grade on it.
Yeah,
I mean,
motivation,
right? So
give yourself a reason, but yeah, for sure.
So what are some ways, now we've talked about how we got through it, and writing, what is the name of that book again that we got for that course? I'll put it in the link, I'll put it in the description down below regardless. We both have a copy of it.
The course is the creative process. I think the book is like 12 ways to overcome
success,
or
whatever. I'll put it down below, I guarantee. It'll be right.
Yeah, it's
here.
like a 12-step program for creative people to recover from writer's block.
And it's so good.
It is.
It is really good. I tend to avoid the morning pages because they were kind of torturous for me. But
the other thing we should mention is the artist dates.
Yes.
And that tip was to take yourself out and do things you wouldn't normally do creatively, and to do it by yourself, and to do it mindfully. So you go to maybe a craft store and buy a bunch of crafts and come home and build something, or you go for a walk along the river or something where you
go paint something,
or hop on a bus route you've never been on before and just see where it goes. Just stuff like that to really rekindle.
My big thing actually with the bus was, and I have a thing for me, is if I'm sitting alone in just a blank room and it's white noise and there's nothing there, can't write a stitch. If I'm on a bus with just people, generic people talking all around me but no one's really bothering me, or if I'm in a bus depot or an airport or whatever, like lightning. Because I'm also people watching. It's a great place to get ideas. Or if you're writing a real drama, the bus. Or Walmart.
It takes that pressure off of the blank page and of really having to focus.
It really does.
Yeah.
Sometimes some people like music, some people hate music, some people like music with words, some people hate music with words.
Yeah.
What are some other ways we can prevent writer's block? I mean,
there's no way that's 100% effective.
Well, no, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
But there are ways that you can try to make it easier on yourself or to be prepared for it. So if something bad happens in your life or something hard or emotional, let yourself take that time to work through it. We talked about mental health days. If you're writing in the middle of the novel and something bad happens in your life, take the time to deal with it. Don't just push it aside and use writing, unless that's working for you.
Absolutely. But you're not a machine. You're not a machine.
Take breaks. Take breaks between projects. When you're trying to shift gears, take breaks. Be kind to yourself always. So never be negative, or try to avoid being negative to yourself. Trying to say, if you look at your writing and go, "This sucks," that's gonna, you're your own worst critic.
Yeah, you really are.
You really
and
are.
It's so much easier to give yourself negative criticism than positive feedback. It's so much easier to be negative.
We've talked about deadlines before, and deadlines can be really helpful, but they can also be really detrimental. If you don't,
stressful.
Yeah, if you don't meet them, you start to berate yourself or get angry at yourself for not meeting those deadlines. So as I said, be flexible with those deadlines. Try to use them as goals as opposed to, things to reprimand yourself with.
Yeah, don't treat them as if I don't hit this date, I'm going to fail.
Right.
Treat them more as if I don't hit this date, why?
Right.
Feedback yourself. Say, okay, why didn't I hit this date? Oh, it's because of this, this, and this. That's what I got to plug away on.
I've participated in writing challenges before, and instead of saying I have to get to 50,000 words by the end of the month, or I have to write 1,000 words a day, I used it more as a goal. It's a high score. How many words can I get to?
Yeah, can I get there?
Can I get there? So change your language.
And if you don't get there, how many did you do?
Right. Be proud of what you do manage to accomplish.
Yeah, because so many people don't do anything.
Yeah.
Right. Or they have these. You'll find people all over. They have great ideas for stories. They're coming out of the woodwork. But they have so much problems getting that to paper that anytime anybody ever gets anything to paper, I'm proud of them. Proud of you. I am. I'm not just joking. You got it on paper. Yeah. That's awesome. Or computer screen or whatever. But you just got it down. That's an accomplishment and a half. So many people have ideas about.
Yeah, you hear it all the time. People say, "Oh, I have a book inside me. I'll write it one day." Well, no,
Write it now.
Write it now.
Even if it sucks, that's your first draft.
Yeah, and a lot of people participate in NaNoWriMo, that National Novel Writing Month in November. Yeah. And that's great, but if you're not writing the rest of the year, why are you waiting until November to do it?
Yeah, do an every other month challenge. Write a book
whenever you want.
Take a month off.
Right.
Next month, look at that book for your second draft.
Sure.
Right?
If you're that fast.
If you're that fast.
But whatever.
A lot of people are not that fast. I'm not that fast.
You could also train yourself to think of writing as a job. And this works for some people. This can maybe not work for others.
It detriments some people.
Yes. But if you think of it as a place that you go to where you leave your troubles at the door as you come in. That's a theater concept, by the way. You go to theater and you leave your life and your problems and everything at the door because the show has to happen.
Yeah.
You do that with writing. So you say, I'm writing from 6 until 8 tonight, and I'm leaving my problems outside the office or the room or whatever.
Yeah, it's a big thing for theater because in theater it's a little different on a theater stage than it is at a computer writing, because on a theater stage you're dealing with so many other people, and the human factor is a huge thing. So the show, where the term show has to go on, the show must go on.
Yeah.
It comes from theater because it must, regardless of whatever problems people are having or how bad their life is or whatever, they got to put on that makeup, that costume, and go out on stage.
And you can apply that to your writing. We're both theater kids, so you leave your problems at the door and you say, this is my writing time, I'm going to use it to write. And that's something that's been very helpful for me lately, because Mirandi and I, she has the 2 children, so we have to say, this is our writing time, this is all we get. There's no chance to be distracted, you have to do it right now. So that time pressure of saying, just, this is a job, and then you start to compartmentalize, and you're able to put everything aside and say, this is writing time, this is non-writing time, so that helps.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
It's always good to set yourself up some time, and if you can get out of the house and go somewhere and do those artist dates and do it, try it. Just try it. And that's the thing that I had from the professor when she taught us, because I was very stubborn when I first started this, and I know, right? She looked me right in the eye and she's like, why not try it? And I went,
what do you got to lose?
I have no reasons to answer you that don't sound petty and selfish. So I will do it. And it worked.
It does,
it
does work.
Yeah, it does work. So,
and back to, if you feel your writing sucks because you're having a mental block at that time, just write anyway.
That's okay.
Go back and edit later, or maybe it doesn't suck. Maybe you're just being hard on yourself, and I do that all the time.
Like, yeah, you already said it. You are your own worst critic. You are the worst person to criticize your work, because every time you read it, even if it's published books, like with major publishers, every time you publish it, every time you read it again, you'll say, oh, I could have done this.
Right, yeah.
Even George R.R. Martin, everybody does it. They're like, oh, I could have done that.
Oh, you know what I do to myself? I'm okay while I'm writing it, while I'm working on it or editing it, but if I leave it alone for 3 months, my brain starts to say, oh, it sucks. It sucks. You don't ever want to pick it up again. So when I do look at it again, I'm like, oh, this wasn't that bad. What was I thinking? So, but my brain, over time, it'll start to degrade and think that it was terrible. So my own self-worth kind of just crumbles.
Falls apart with it, but just, you got it down, you got it on paper.
Yeah.
Even if you just put a title on a screen, some people find that, like me personally, I don't put a title on anything until it's over. But some people, if they put a title at the front, even if you put one word of dialogue, even opening the program, I'm proud of you. Even getting started.
Yeah. Or again, if you can't write, research.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or read.
Yeah.
Or
another way to get inspired is, for example, the steampunk thing. That, like, if you got really inspired to do a project because of a movie, or you got really inspired to do a project because of a conversation you had with some people and you thought it was a really cool idea, but now it's like 10 months later, you've lost inspiration.
Yeah. Go immerse yourself in
watch
that
movie again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go do it again. Whatever inspired you the first time is probably going to do it the second time.
And we did this for one of our novels. We were writing Unintended, which is set in a palace about kings and queens and that sort of thing. And we were just like kind of at a loss at a certain point. And we went to a trip. We went to Castle Loma in Toronto and walked around a real castle. And it was just like, wow, I so want to go sit down and write again, because I now know what these things look like, what they feel like, and you get that atmosphere and you're all motivated again. So things like that, take a field trip.
I've always described motivation like a battery. It's fully charged. You have ways to charge it, like going to the Casa Loma or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, and eventually when you start writing, that battery will start to drain. And sometimes it's the work itself that keeps it charged and it keeps it going. But sometimes you got to get that external stimuli, which is what you need. So I think that's what we can do now. I'm kind of at a loss. I'm kind of blocked as to what else we could say about it.
But yes, this has been a wonderful series of videos that I've had fun making them.
No, we've had a good time this year coming out with these videos. It's been a little while since we've done them, and then we had a big gap and everything. But we're back next year, starting January 2019. As of right now, submissions are unfortunately, they're closed.
Yes.
So, thank you to everybody, by the way.
Yes, and we'll be announcing our new titles for 2019 soon. And if you want any more of these videos, leave us some comments down there. Let us know what topics we can cover coming up, and we will try to get on them.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you very much. Have happy 2019 when it's coming. 2018 is gone. Bye. So, any problems you had in 2019? Bye. With writing, I mean, some things persist, but
try something new. Use it as a tool to refresh.
There you go. And New Year's resolutions, your opinion on those for writing?
Well, they work for some people.
They're better than going to the gym, let's just say that.
Yeah.
There we go.
No, personally, I always say, you know what, it's okay not to write. It's okay to take breaks, and you're still a writer. So don't ever lose sight of that. Don't think that you're not a writer if you're having a rough time and not writing.
Great advice. You are a writer, and what do writers do?
Writers write.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much, everybody, for a great year. You all have yourself a wonderful, safe holiday, and we'll talk to you next time.